Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I decided to engage in a conversation with Seun Anikulapo Kuti, the son of the most well known musician that has come out of the country called Nigeria. After the conversation, I may explain why I even decided to get involved in the first place. About a week or a couple of weeks ago, Facebook brought to my attention a message or a declaration by the young fellow. The declaration was that Africans taught Europeans how to bath. If you look at it another way, Seun was saying, if the post actually emanated from him, was saying that Europeans did not know that they should take their bath until Africans taught them. And I want to set the record straight. I am saying that Seun Kuti is rather too young to know much about Nigeria's cultures. And I don't know if he has the requisite training and education to know about cultures in Africa, to know about the wide range of diversity. Africa has at least 500 different cultures. In Nigeria alone, there are not less than 100 different cultures. When I'm talking about difference, I'm talking about cultures that are as different as sometimes some of them are with cultures you find very far away, like China, Thailand, Bhutan. For example, the way the Igbos serve food is completely different from the way the Yorubas serve food. And they inhabit a region called Southern Nigeria. But just look at the simple way they serve their food. They're completely different. While the Yoruba will put the sauce and the flour in one dish, the Igbos traditionally will separate them in different dishes. So if Seun Kuti is talking about Africans teaching Europeans that they should take their bath, which culture in Africa was he referring to? So, I felt he needed a response, and as I said afterwards, I will explain why I decided to get involved. We just talked about cultures in Nigeria, let alone Africa. Not every African group or nation did what Seun claimed or alleged that Africans taught Europeans that they should do. I'm talking about taking their baths. I am older than Seun, and I know that there are Nigerian groups who do not think it's very important to take their bath. And if Seun had said that an African group taught Europeans that they should take their bath, that would still have been up to debate. And I don't think that any African group went and taught Europeans that they should take their bath. But in this case, he was talking about Africans, and he has a record. He is sounding like the cultured individuals that fought, quote, that fought Euro-colonialism, who aggregated totally different African cultures into one and produced what we know as Afrocentrism. He is known to be sounding like that. So I think I'm safe to presume that he looks at Africa as one, while the reality is that Africa is as diverse as anything, far more diverse than Europe, far more diverse than Asia. And I repeat again, there are groups even in Nigeria that do not know or believe or give us the impression that they see taking their bath as very, very important. So, before you go out to say that Africans taught Europeans that they should take their bath, you should explain to us how Africans have taken cleanliness very seriously. And the diversity and the differences between Africans, I will make it clearer. I will solidify my argument by comparing or by looking at the food culture in Nigeria. The story I will tell you about the food culture in Nigeria will make clearer to you how diverse Africa is. The story about eating grass solidifies my arguments. After the Berlin Conference, when Europeans entered into the continent of Africa and began to draw borders, began to create countries, began to, they forced hundreds of groups in what you call Nigeria today together. Virtually every group in Nigeria called the Igbo people grass eaters. Why did they call the Igbo people grass eaters? They saw the Igbo people eating green vegetables. And they thought that vegetables were grasses. And they had no idea that human beings could eat, quote, grass. What does this tell you? It tells you that it talks about diversity. Those people that called the Igbos grass eaters also ate food, but it was not based on vegetables. Some ate more of meat, some ate more of fat, diversity. I'm now going to get into why I think that discourses like this are very important. The group of peoples in the continent called Africa can do much better than they are doing at present, considering the immense resources in the land area called Africa. I want to think that it is the most naturally endowed part of the world. I believe it is. But I have been agitated over a very long time. Why have the peoples in this land area performed below expectations? Why have peoples in other parts of the world done better? I don't want to excuse peoples in Africa by saying that they were colonized. Asians, Latinos were colonized. I mean, when I say Latinos, I mean the countries in Latin America were colonized. But I want to believe, and I don't think the statistics are telling us a lie, that if we want to list the 50 poorest countries in the world, 2/3 of them will come from Africa. I have thought about a lot of reasons why this is the situation. And one of the things that keep on occurring to me is that while groups like the Europeans experimented until they found pathways to development, those processes, those events that forced the Europeans to interrogate and question a lot of things, even if those things occurred in Africa, I doubt that enough events and processes took place in Africa that can be compared to the Enlightenment the Renaissance, and so on and so forth. And one way Africans will remain in the doldrums is becoming very happy over non-issues. Like when this post came up that Africans taught Europeans to bat by Seun, it would make a lot of his followers happy. Those his followers are meanwhile looking for visas to go to European countries because their streets in Nigeria are fecalized. They're filled with death. So, believing that you taught the European how to take his bath, how to practice ordinary hygiene, maybe 300 years ago, which, as I said, is not based on facts, having the belief makes you happy. But why are you not interrogating your present state? Even if you taught the European has mastered the culture of keeping his environment clean. But in any case, I don't believe that Europeans were taught by Africans. I believe that Europeans experimented and ultimately came to the position that basic hygiene will enhance health. I know that the Igbo people have a culture that produced a very clean people. But I am not going to say that the Igbo people taught the Europeans that they must be conscious of cleanliness. I believe that this is what the Europeans came up with through research. So, I have, without announcing it, gotten into the reason why I think that discourses like this are important. Because they are important because the people that will pull out Africa out of the doldrums are the thinkers. And there are enough Africans with the capacity to think. But they do not focus on matters like this. They do not take care of the pennies so that the pennies will take care of the pounds and the dollars. Rather, what the thinkers from Africa do is get into politics and other things which I don't think is necessary for me to get into now. Meanwhile, have a very good week and think along with me. Thank you.